Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 4. Our members are Khoiriah, Liska, Nopriliyanti, Ranidya Ayu Muthiah, Ria Marlinda, Tasya Saputri, and Rahmini. We are from PBI 1. Now we're going to explain about ELT Organization. Okay, I am Rahmini. I am the first presenter. In this slide, these are the aims of this chapter we're discussing about. I think I don't need to explain or read them for you. You can read by yourself in your own file, so I will skip it. Let's continue to the next slide. And this is the first material of this chapter, organization. So school simultaneously two things. The first institutions and the second is organizations. School as institutions will have a legal status with government or shareholders, a board of management, staff, and students. School as an organization. Of course, the school has many people who are members in the structure and function of the organization to achieve the goals of the school. Organization has four aspects. The first, human. Human is the first thing needed in organization because without human, organization will be nothing. The second is technology. Technology constitute the means by which various operations are carried out in pursuit of organizational goals. The third is curriculum. Curriculum is very important to arrange methods and materials in learning. The fourth, cultures. Of course, in an organization which has many people, between them will have different cultures or behavior, so that's why the role of management is needed for integrating the culture. Okay, now needs and the organization. A school needs to provide an educational service for clients. So who are clients? They are students. And for stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? They are parents, members of the community, employers, governors, and shareholders. Three broad sets of needs in a school as an organization. The first, task needs. The task needs are those which have to be satisfied in order successfully to carry out the work of the organization. So a school as an organization should prepare and give the task to each member organization. Every task will be different from the others according to the position of member in an organization. So from this way it will make easier to achieve the goals by working the task. The second is group needs. The second set of needs have to be concerned with the group or to do with the organization as a social unit. All social groups have standards of behavior both for work and interpersonal relationship. And every group will have different cultures between different parts, but on the other hand, they have a good social relationship. And the third is individual needs. The third set of needs have to be met individual or personal group. If they are not met, there will be a loss of morale and motivation among the individual who make up the group or team. Meeting individual needs involves attending to personal problems, praising individuals, giving status, recognizing and using individual abilities, training the individual. Okay, in this slide, I show you Maslow's hierarchy of needs. From this figure, we can know that the needs of each level are different. Physiological needs at the lowest level and proceeding through security needs, affiliation needs, and esteem needs to the need for self-actualization at the highest level. Maslow purpose that human needs are arranged in a series of levels, and the needs of each level have to be satisfied to some extent before people think about needs at the next level above.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Ria Marlinda. I would like to explain about the structure of organization. Basically, structure is an inventory or list of what has to be organized. According to Pace, structure is the deliberate patterning of relationships between organization members. According to Mullins defines structure as the pattern of relationships among positions in the organization and among members of the organization. The structure defines tasks and responsibilities, work rules and relationships, and channels of communication. The purpose of structure is the division of work among members of the organization and the coordination of their activities, so they are directed toward achieving the goals and objectives of the organization. We can see the elements of structure. There are job, authority, and position. Jobs, authority, and positions will be labeled. That is why such titles as Director of Studies, Marketing Manager, Bursar, Secretary, and so on exist. The list of titles in the school gives a kind of description of the organization structure at one point in time, and it will show the observed where in theory the occupants of each position stand in relation to each other. However, such structured lists are not included in the dynamic aspect of the organization, nor does it show the informal structure of the organization as manifested through relationships that are not actually specified in formal titles and procedures. And then, flat and tall pyramidal form. Traditionally, the organizational structure of a school will be depicted as a variant of a pyramid, the pyramid being either flat or tall, according to the levels of authority and the distribution of jobs. A tall pyramid will have a long chain of command from top to bottom, and a flat one will have a short one. In fact, more than one pyramid may exist within an organization. Each reflection both the culture of different parts of the organization as well as the function carried out by these different sections. Alternative of the criticism of formal models of organizations and management. The first is democratic models. Democratic models believe that decision-making should be based on democratic principles and also emphasizing of expertise. This is valued by the democratic model, being realized in organizational terms through collegiality, that is, group discussion involving maximum participation by all members of the organization and through commits. The second is political models. The political model emphasizes groups rather than the large organization, stressing also the prevalence of conflicts and of interest group. The goals and aims are seen as being unstable, ambiguous, and contested. The third is subjective model. Subjective models deny the existence of organizational goals, emphasizing the significance of individual purpose and aims. And the last is ambiguity. Ambiguity model emphasize uncertainty and unpredictability. No model fully accounts for organizational structure and management processes. And then for PACE model for policy formation. The first is the anarchic PACE, during which issues are identified and potential solutions are considered. And the second is the political PACE, when a broad consensus is reached through a process of bargaining and negotiation. The third is the collegial PACE, when an attempt is made to persuade colleges to accept the compromise reached during the previous political stage. And the last is the formal or bureaucratic stage, during which agreed policy may be changed in the light of administrative or practical considerations and subsequently put into operation. The next material is about organizational culture. Ranidya will be explain about this material.
Well, I will continue about Ria's explanation. In here, there are 4 organizational cultures as follows. The first one is the power or club culture. The power or club culture, as Henry called, is spiderweb with a power source at the hub. This spiderweb surrounded by concentric circles of intimates and influence. The hub or spider in the center have more power than those at the periphery, and the lines out from the center indicate of responsibility and functions of the organization. Handy observes that the organization rich in personality and tend to be informal and personal because face-to-face communication will tend to be preferred. To be a good team, it's really important to pick a good member in here. Once things become bigger, a more formal and less personal style of communication and organization becomes essential. This organization used by someone who work in small cities, either public or private sector. The next is the role culture. The role culture is resembling a pyramid of boxes, which each box being a job exists independently of whoever occupies it. Organizational culture resembles closely the stereotype organizational chart, arranged as a hierarchy and with roles rather than individuals as the titles for each place on the chart. The organization is managed rather than led, and difference with the power or club culture because the memoranda go from role to role, not face to face. This organization used by the administration because based on the principle of uniformity and routine. The next is task culture. Task culture means a group or a team of talents and resources that should be applied to a project, problem, or a task. Builds cooperative group readings Well, I mean, build cooperative groups, making up a team, and task culture can be warm and friendly because there are teams leader rather than managers. Task culture provides an exciting work environment, and it may well be the case that a good school is one in which a task culture predominates. Indeed, this organization used in small cities, specialized schools such as Tyler Tyler made course. Well, the last is the person culture. As the name, the person culture has priority in the individual's talents rather than the organization purposes. The organizational idea behind this culture that the individual talent and must be serviced by some sort of minimal organization, but the evolution can make staff member comes to be prima donna if could give rise to conflict. Okay, I think that's all about my explanation. The next material will be handled by Acha or Tasya Saputri.
I'm Tasya Saputri. I will explain you about the style and function of management. It will be obvious that there is likely to be a relationship between the structure of an organization, the style of management exhibited by those who occupy management roles, and the culture of an organization. Management style refers to the behavior and attitude of the manager. Okay? According to the article, there are two of style of management. The first is the formal models of organization. The second is the democratic. Formal models of organization emphasizes control, and the democratic one stress participation. Okay? Based on another source, there are four styles of management. First is the autocratic. Autocratic is management make decision and tell staff. The second is persuasive. Persuasive management makes decision and invite question. And the third is consultative. Consultative management presents problem, asks for suggestions, and makes decisions. And the last is the participative. Participative is management presents problems, and staff and management work together to make decisions. Okay? Social psychologist Douglas McGregor studied the general behavior of human beings and classified such behavior into two parts, which is popularly known theory X and theory Y. Theory X revolves around the traditional assumptions about the human behavior that they are pessimistic in nature. The basic assumption of Theory X about workers' behavior are they dislike the work. They are unwilling to assume responsibility. To be clear, please open your article on page 23. Okay, next, theory Y. In contrast, McGregor propounded an alternative theory which poses optimistic behavior patterns of the workers. These assumptions highlight that workers are ready to do hard work. To be clear, please open your article on page 23. As a managers of people and resources in the classroom, teachers may approach their task with theory X or theory Y. Okay? And next is the functions of management. Whatever the style of manager, there are certain functions which management will carry out. According Moeling, where there are five functions of management. First is the clarifications of objective, and second is the planning. Planning, one of the basic functions of management. A plan is a future course of action. It is an exercise in a problem solving and decision making. Planning is determinations of course of action to achieve desired goals. And the third is organizing is the process of bringing together physical, financial, and human resources and developing productive relationship amongst them for achievement of organizational goals. The fourth is the directing. It is that part of managerial function which actuates the organizational method toward efficiency. And the last is the controlling. Controlling, it implies measurement of accomplishment against the standards and correction of the revisions if any to ensure achievement of organizational goals. And next, the continuation of such a management style when conditions have stabilized may prove to be difficult or even harmful. What even the most autocratic manager will have to learn is the art of delegation. Delegations, according to the Moulin, defines it at two levels. First is the at organizational levels, and the second is the at the individual level. Delegation at the organizational levels involve consideration, centralization, and divisionalization. And at the individual levels is process of entrusting authority and responsibility to others. Okay, and the next is the efficient delegation. Efficient delegation depends on three things. First is the clearly defined objective. Second, clearly defined criteria, and the last is the review procedure. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Khoiriah Liska Nopriliyanti, and I will continue the material about a systematic approach to management. Management is concerned with things. For the most part, management is concerned with people and ideas, especially in the context of educational management. Whether clarifying objectives or controlling activities, managers like teachers are involved with people. And as with classroom life, the irrational tends to impinge on the rational in way which make no sense of strictly systematic approaches to management. The importance of taking account of the individual idiosyncratics and irrational is built into some management models. The next is management approach procedures. The first is clarify aims and purposes. It is important to distinguish between clarification, which involves setting idea that has already been decided upon, as when a central authority, such as ministry, transmits a decision on some aspect of school practice, and clarification which involves consulting the views of others and taking this into account before a decision is actually taken. Clarification as to eventual aims and outcome will involve all those concerned with the implementation of objectives, whether these have been decided in advance or are the outcome of negotiation. The second is planning and organizing. Information gathering is followed by planning, in which an agenda for action and a list of responsibilities and deadlines will be established. Basically, planning involves specifying in detail what will be done, how, where, when, and by whom, and with what outcomes. It is at this point that we move into the formal stage, in which administrative and practical consideration determine the shape what is to be done. And the last is coordinating. In coordinating, there are four steps. The first is check, the second is financial controller, and the third is testing equipment, and the last is evaluating. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation. I think that's all. Thank you for your attention. The last say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.